Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 175 on March 25th, 2020. Everyone is still in lockdown, but that works because we do the show from home, so...
So nothing's different.
Nothing's different. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Russ.
Hey, everybody.
Jimmy Trammell.
Hey, guys.
Michael Aston.
Hello, everyone.
And I will say this lockdown is kind of good for the show because it means that everybody will actually be here.
Yeah.
I got to go out and wash my hair. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do on Friday night, so you don't have to go on dates.
No, okay, sorry. I don't know how this works.
You know, one thing I have been enjoying, is watching, like I watch CNBC, right? And these guys are like, broadcasting from home and they're using, Skype or Zoom or whatever. And seeing these guys talk over each other like we do on the podcast, right, is really kind of entertaining to watch, right? It's like, oh, yeah, we do that. And us guys, we've been doing this for a while now. We're getting where we're a little better with that. For them, when they first started this, they were really stepping over each other there on CNBC. So quite entertaining to watch.
What I love is the first couple days, all of their camera feeds and audio sucked. It was like nobody used anything of like a halfway decent mic and maybe a decent camera. They're using the really crappy camera inside their laptop and maybe even the audio inside their laptop or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten better, guys, but I know a lot of you guys have been calling podcasts and going, hey, how do you do this better? Because we have to do this now like you do. So.
Yep.
And maybe we'll get some more different programs with NDI support because this is a really cool feature that needs to be on a lot more different of these platforms. So more direct control of feeds, people, none of this stupid screen capturing that we've been having to do. And it's not Skype because Skype is Skype and Skype is okay, but yeah. I'm done.
Unless it's funny, like if you watch the like MSNBC, do they use Skype?
I don't know. I don't watch any of those news channels.
I don't either. I don't subscribe to TV so that I have an excuse for why I don't watch any of those shows. So
CNBC is the only thing I watch, and that's watching my 401k turn into a 401k.
You mean 40.1k?
Yeah.
It's a 0.1k. You got hundreds of dollars in it invested right now. It's all good. Don't worry. I gotta talk to my retirement guy and say, hey, what does this mean to us? And he's gonna look at me and go, yeah, you're gonna have to wait. If you want to invest now.
Hasn't it already started recovering pretty significantly in the last few days?
I'm sure it has, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't follow that stuff. It's just not what I do. What I do is
what you do
read the news. I do to the news.
All right.
Yes, I do.
Only if you have toilet paper.
I do have some. So
I do to the news. That sounds like a title.
It's a horrible title, I must say. Hey guys, if you want something to do and you've been waiting for something amazing to play with during this time of being kept alone and not being able to do anything, this week you have the option to do Half-Life Alyx. This new game has come out, and according to various different online publications, it is an amazing look into what a VR game should and it is like. I've seen about 10 minutes of gameplay myself, and I must say this is exactly the kind of thing I would want to see out of a VR game. This is amazing, and I can't wait to see if this becomes the thing of the future for video gaming. I'm super excited.
I have not watched any gameplay for this, mainly because I know that this is the game that I've been waiting for.
Mhm.
This is the game that will finally get me into VR. Because this is like pretty much the only franchise where I have played every incarnation, and I have been waiting for this for a long time. So I'm glad. When we talked about it back in October, November-ish, I was kind of worried that it might be a little too much hype, but people were raving about it, and that's
Metacritic 91, I think, on Metacritic,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
And-
It's pretty good.
and as I pointed out back then, that this game had the potential to be or to legitimize VR, because VR has always had stuff but it's always been kind of gimmicky. But this game had the potential, if it was really good, it could be the thing that you point to and say, yes, VR is officially a thing. Or if it wasn't good, then you go, nope, it's just another 3D
Yep.
TV.
Yeah, if VR had some good little, what is Dance Saber or whatever it's called, where you're the
Beat Saber is really
Beat
popular.
Saber, and those kind of things were like amazing little apps that are like, well, this is great, but you couldn't
Yeah.
you couldn't spend 60 hours in that.
No, I mean,
well,
and
you could, but
I would call that gimmicky, even though it was good. Think of like Dance Dance Revolution.
right.
You could get the Dance Dance Revolution mats so that you could play it in your living room. But how many other games use those things? It was gimmicky. It was fun. It worked very well, but people move on. VR. I kind of wish VR had gotten a little bit further in the virtual meeting rooms, because this is the perfect time.
Well,
And it's definitely the right time to release a new video game.
Yes. Oh, hey, tinfoil hat time. Do you think Valve is behind this?
ooh, you think that Valve released the virus?
They've been waiting.
I didn't
they've
say
just,
that they did it, but they might know who did.
they've just been waiting for 13 years for the right time to release it.
Well,
They built the game 13 years ago, and then they updated it to add VR, and now they're finally like, this is our time.
if anybody out there is like a bioscientist, let me know. Is 13 years long enough to breed a deadly strain of something? It sounds like timing, but still, no. I mean, they couldn't have asked for the perfect time, because people are home, and
That's true.
But Bad Weed
it-
says not enough tinfoil in the world. But
But the thing is that most people don't have VR headsets yet. I mean, it's still like kind of a niche thing. So,
And you probably would have a hard time ordering them right now.
yeah.
actually, I mean,
maybe.
they've got availability, because I looked at ordering the Index back in November, and they were already sold out
Right.
in preparation, but they've got stock now, according to the
Nice.
website. I mean, they've had months to build up in preparation. And that if anybody, Valve is banking on this game hard, and they went in on to make sure they had supply. So yeah, I can't wait to play it.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully soon. I can't afford $1,000 headset right now.
well, maybe you won't have to. Hey, HP's got this new headset that they've announced. Actually, not announced. It's more like they teased it. It's the Reverb G2, which is the second generation of their earlier model, and they're saying that they're going to be providing more information with it soon. The first Reverb was pretty normal as far as it went, but it did have a pretty amazing sharp resolution of 2160 by 2160 for each eye. So that's high enough resolution that you will be having a good time with this system. I'm curious if we will be seeing this new Reverb G2 anytime soon, and for what price.
And I'm pretty sure you can't buy the Reverb on Reverb.
Ooh.
Mhm.
But I'd be interested in check this out. This strikes me as like a competitor for like the Oculus Play or the Go or whichever one that's wireless in your living room, not the take it on a bus one.
Mhm.
But as long as I don't have to sign in to Facebook to use it, I mean that's the whole reason I'm out on anything Oculus. Yes, I'll probably have to sign in with my Microsoft account, but that's okay because I have to sign into everything with my Microsoft account anyway. So,
Right.
you know, that's the ecosystem I'm okay with.
Yeah, and since they did work with Microsoft and Valve on this, that's some pretty big VR names right now in the game. So
Mhm.
this, I suspect, will be a very competent system. I'm just hoping it's for a decent price. So
Yeah,
That'd
I would say I'm gonna guess that if this is what I think it is, it's gonna be in the around 500 price range, which is decent. They didn't mention if they're gonna have controllers um, or what the controller or how the control is gonna work, but yeah. Uh,
What is that pixel density? Is that 2K?
so 2160 by 2160, that would be 4K
Yeah,
that'd be better than 4K
per eye.
'cause that's per eye, right?
per eye.
Mhm.
So it's slightly better than 4K.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taller than 4K.
Yep. So it would be like Limax for the VR edition of Limax.
2K per eye, but then 4K altogether.
So it'd be 4K.
No.
Is that what you're saying? Right.
Yeah.
Well, 4K
Sort
is
of.
2160 anyway.
Yeah,
isn't it?
this is essentially this is a little bit bigger than a 4K screen per eye.
It's a taller 4K per eye.
Well, not as wide per eye.
No, it is. I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
4K is 3840
Ah.
by.
You're right. You're right.
Then I
This
am
is
wrong.
square, not rect. This would be square, not rectangle. But yes, same pixel density technically. Ish.
All right.
But yeah,
All right.
cool.
So we know that the GDC conference was canceled, which means there's a lot of people who are looking to possibly show off their brand new games this year or weren't able to show it off at that show. Valve stepped in and is now offering a Steam Game Festival Spring Edition that you can go find right now and try out a bunch of these indie games that are available for demo. You just go to their website with a Steam account, and you're able to download the demos of about 40 new games, of unreleased games that you could try out, and see these titles right now instead of having to go to the show. The show comes to you.
When I first saw this article, I was kind of hoping that Valve was giving them a venue so they could do it like that Jackbox game where you show off your invention. And you basically each new game designer, they've got a couple minutes to go through the presentation. But good for Steam, and hopefully good for these people that need to get their games out there.
We need more of these. So this is going to be the new norm for a while, and so I'm hoping we'll get to see some type of virtual presentations on these as well. That'd be great.
All right.
So the EU started asking Netflix and other services to if they could slow down their various streaming services. Basically, they've noticed that the entire internet is full of traffic, mostly streaming television because I don't know, people seem to be at home more and have more time to stream. So to ease this, Netflix, Amazon Video, the Apple TV did it. I think we got YouTube doing it. All these different companies are making the default for all their streams, switching them to standard definition, which makes it so by default most people won't be changing that, and so you will be getting using a lot less traffic on the internet, making the internet just a little bit better for everybody else.
Okay.
No.
I
So
No.
so
I will not watch my stuff in SD again.
I pay for
No.
Did you
HD.
even notice?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
The thing is, if you're paying for 4K though, and they force you into SD, then do
Yeah,
they refund you the difference there between, because there's two different prices?
I pay
Excellent question.
extra for HD. I buy my movies in UHD, and I have a 4K TV also that I can watch high resolution video. Do not start streaming my crap low res. I will be thoroughly unhappy.
Depending on the service, I think it just changes the default to the lower resolution.
Yeah.
So when you start watching your show, it's just giving you the SD version of it. But if you be able to choose to go to the higher
If I can force change it, I'm okay with it. If the intention and let's be clear, this is the EU.
Yes.
So certainly their intention is that Netflix not give people any options, but completely do the worst possible thing for the people that it can. And that would be force maximum of SD streaming for everybody.
Also,
That's my
remember in the EU, many of those countries, the internet provider is the government. It's a public utility.
Mhm.
So it would be like your city saying, hey, we need to crank down the water, pressure to, whatever. It's still
Save water.
usable, but, I mean, that's not something that they could technically do, but essentially the same thing. But
I mean,
yes,
that would good. Sorry.
I was going to say that's one reason I refuse to live in a country where that is the kind of mentality, and it's free market for me and only for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like, at least with with your water pressure, you expect that they have control of that, and that you get what they give you. Again, my thing is I've paid extra money for all of these extra features so that I can have this, and I want what I'm paying for.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't be willing to occasionally download the quality. For example, when I'm listening to music videos on my TV next to me while I'm working, I don't need video at all. I'm just listening to the music, but because I use YouTube on my TV, I am streaming. So if they gave me a setting to where I could turn off the video or turn the video to super low res, that would be fine with me. But I don't want them to force something like that on me. That would be very frustrating.
Or at least not force it on you and still make you pay the higher price.
Yeah, I mean, I would be less upset if they refunded the difference, but but I still would be upset because, like you said, I mean, there's a bunch of movies that I bought in UHD that they're obviously not going to retroactively refund me on a movie that I bought a year ago if I go back to watch it and can only watch it in SD. But yeah, I mean, there are things they could do to make it less frustrating. And I'm not a horrible person. I might be willing to do it myself if you give me the option. But I'm definitely, like probably 50% of the shows I watch, I would be willing to do it on. But some movies, like the other night, I watched the new Bloodshot movie. I wanted to watch that in 4K. There's no way I'm going to watch that in lower than 4K, period. So, give me the option. I'll be a good steward of my options when you give them to me most of the time. In my opinion, all the time, but sometimes that requires me to watch it in 4K.
So, in summary, you will have to pry the HD from his cold dead hands.
First world problems. Gotcha.
Will not get my Roku TV remote.
First world streamer problems. All right. Hey, Comcast. Hey, guess what? Comcast finally has on their box something that they should have had. Like, I don't know. Why hasn't this already been a thing? Comcast now has Hulu on their X1 Xfinity boxes. You can now.
Oh, good. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say this box has been out for a while. This is their Flex box, which is the one I believe is the one that they had teamed up with Android TV.
That's right. This is the streaming streaming box, and it didn't have Hulu on it.
It didn't have Hulu on it, but it does now. And that was one of the beauties of, like we speculated that eventually everything should be on there because if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's running Android TV. So anything that's on your Android TV has the capability. But in this case, it's more of a closed system, so they're the gatekeeper. So there was some sort of, but
Yeah.
they're co-owner of Hulu. So yes, why wasn't this on there from day one?
I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think most people either use, you know, a Fire TV, an Apple TV, or a Roku. I mean, that's the biggest majority. And why would you even take one of these?
Well,
you know,
this was for Comcast subscribers. So if you are,
Right.
let's say, you're a Comcast cable subscriber, if you get the Flex box, you don't need an additional device that you have to change inputs to go to. These apps are
Right.
built right into the cable box.
But what
essentially.
I'm saying is, all you got to do is download the Xfinity app onto what you already have.
Yeah.
Right, and just use that. Why would you even use it?
Because if you want to watch it in your living room, yeah. But yeah, this was for like people like my parents and
Yeah.
other people that don't want to mess around. My parents are not going to watch anything on an app. They're not, or I mean, unless it's on the Roku. But if you're paying for cable, you're not going to be using a Roku or an Apple TV all the time. You're going to have a cable box because that's what you're paying for. So if you build the cable box to be a streaming device, in this case it's Android TV, then you just put the apps. And it's like we're back to the days of like the TiVo, where cable came into the TiVo, and then I had Netflix on there. I had other stuff, and it's all just one, unified interface. But yeah, why they didn't have Hulu up to this point is weird.
It is.
But I mean, yeah, so cool.
Hey everybody, you know that we've been having to deal with this kind of stay-at-home thing, and there's been a lot of musical artists out there that basically have lost a lot of gigs due to this, concerts being canceled and things like that. So every year on St. Patrick's Day, the Dropkick Murphys always play a live set, and they said, okay, this year we're going to do it online. And I didn't watch it, but apparently it was a little weird without having any crowds there, but it was a cool show, and it was a success for them. Hopefully they were able to make some money off of some merchandise they would sell after the fact. I would love to buy a shirt that said I was at the virtual Dropkick Murphys. That would have been great, but 2020. Yeah, this is a thing, and these aren't the only people to do this. There's been other entertainers going out to do this kind of stuff as well. So
You where people have been doing this forever?
On Twitch?
Yes, on Twitch. I am a huge fan of the Dropkick Murphys. I have seen them probably like 20 times.
Wow.
And I have no interest in seeing this. Because, I mean, it's no different than buying a DVD or listening to the album. You don't get the experience and the energy of the crowd and everything that is a Dropkick concert. Remind me out in post-show, I'll tell you about one of my favorite memories of their shows. But, I mean, it's cool. And, I mean, the band's got to do what they can to, maintain or to kind of replace that income that is being taken away. But I unfortunately, that's not the best way to experience a concert.
No, of course not.
I do agree to a large extent. I think what would be interesting is if bands would come up with a way to change it to some extent. And I, off the top of my head, it's just not occurring to me but I haven't really even thought about it. So the idea being though that like there are things they could do to engage people in other ways, whether they use some sort of like polling software that allows them to get feedback about what song to do next or things like that. And I know that's hard for a band to adjust their set list as well, because they practice the songs and get ready to do it. But there might be a few extra songs that they could cue. I mean, there's things they could do to make it somewhat interactive and make it feel like you're not just watching a DVD of a concert or something that would potentially make it better.
I'll use Dropkick Murphys as an example, though, because they were in the article. The problem here is that you lose when there's no audience. Most good bands, live acts like this, they feed off the audience, you know, and it's just weird seeing, you know, you're essentially just watching their practice or their rehearsal.
What I would suggest,
and I can say from that in rehearsal, yes, you do go through a lot of the, you know, work out the choreography stuff and try to act like there's a crowd there so that you're more comfortable. But it is not anywhere near as, you know, the energy that you feel getting fed back to you by that crowd. So
I have a solution for this problem. Dropkick Murphys need to get on stage and get ready to go, but pre-set up for Dropkick Murphys is a bunch of those wavy arm things you see on stores. Now, make it so that those things are set up. You know, you get a couple hundred of those sitting up front. Make sure that they're set up so their fans turn on as the chat goes, you know, crazy and they start going crazy. So get some virtual cheer sounds to go, and then between they'll start setting down, and they'll all kind of lean over. And
see, I mean, I don't totally disagree with this idea. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, I totally agree with you, Clyde. Like, I've never been a musician, but I have been in plays and I have performed and spoken in front of people. So I understand that there is a difference between doing it in practice to one or two people and doing it to hundreds or potentially thousands of people. But you cannot fix that feel of the crowd, because having been to a concert, I know that the energy, exactly what you're saying about the energy of the people around you and the concert as a whole, that totally changes the dynamic. On the other hand, while you aren't going to get 100% there, they could do it in a more interesting way than what you described of this feels a lot like watching it on a DVD. To where, you know, maybe they do something to give them some feedback about the way the crowds are reacting. Matt's idea is actually really brilliant, though it would take a tremendous amount of planning and setup to be able to make that.
Of all those fans.
To make those fans adjust based on, but yeah, you could do chat bots or chat feeds where it shows, you know, we understand how excited people are based on what they're saying and stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that they could do technically, and it makes me kind of want to sit down and start making some applications that would do this kind of thing.
But you also you wouldn't be lying when you said they played a show for 100 fans.
Join us in our special 10 concert only fan. It would be the one concert that they ever performed where they weren't sweating their asses off, though.
It'd be nice. Lots of air movement.
Yep. And then when the virtual tour is done and they go back on the road, they can sell off each one of those fans on eBay.
Yeah, they probably could. Put a shirt on each one.
Yep.
Wow. No audience concerts. Shortage of toilet paper. Standard definition. Yeah. This is the apocalypse.
Oh, it's kind of a bad day for Disney too. So guess what? Disney released their newest Pixar movie, Onward, this last week, and also they decided they were going to release it last Friday for viewing at home. If you wanted to pay, I believe, $20 for, you could rent it for $20 to get it early.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been doing very well, as far as I know. The box office numbers are really, really poor. And it looks like now they're going to go ahead and bring it into Disney Plus as a part of the streaming package as of April 3rd,
Okay.
mostly due to all these theater closures. This, I'm glad I didn't spend the $20 to watch it on it, because if it's going to be available on Disney Plus, that's I'll happily watch it there. So.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing about this. Like, they initially intended to release it on Disney Plus like on April 3rd anyways. So before they did the March 24th announcement, they had already announced that they were going to release it on Disney Plus like a couple of weeks later. So because my daughter is actually the one who told me this. She saw it on Disney Plus or Disney TV. And so I was ready to buy it. But then she's like, well, it's going to be available free on Disney Plus in 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, well, I can wait 2 more weeks for free versus $20. So I think for me, the thing is that the real frustrating, difficult thing is that all of the movies that are coming out right now, they have the same challenge of they honestly just don't even know what kind of money this movie would have ended up making. And because, so here's the thing, like Bloodshot's another one, and that's my rave for the week. But, you know, I'm a huge fan of the Marvel or of the comic book universe for the Valiant comics, which is Bloodshot is part of the Valiant comic universe. And I love all of their, or not all, but most of their comics. I really like them. I collect a lot of them. And there's some of my favorite reads of all of the comics. I've been fans since the 90s. And their movie came out at the absolute worst conceivable time, right? Like the first weekend that places were getting shut down, it made like $9 million, which it was a low budget film, you know, relatively speaking, but 9 million isn't going to pay anywhere near what those kinds of movies cost. So they were inherently screwed.
You know, Sony right now is kicking themselves that they didn't hold Playmobil till the spring. Because they would have had an excuse for why it did so bad.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, like, now the question is, will any other Valiant movies be released? You know, so for things like this, like Valiant, it hurts them a lot because they're a smaller company that they've been doing comics, and this is their first real foray into movies. And they failed, but did they fail because of the virus, or did they fail because it was a bad movie? I would argue the former, that it was because of the virus. Pixar is going to weather it. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Right? Like, it's probably annoys them that they are going to end up losing a lot of money on this movie. I don't know how well the movie would have done, how many people wanted to go see it in theaters. I did. This movie's really up my alley, though. But it is weird. I mean, why are there a bunch of Smurfs walking around with a guy that doesn't have a top half?
Right. It is not your typical. I can relate to this style of Pixar movie that they usually give you something like, oh, okay, we're playing with toys. Everybody knows what that's like. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're seeing where monsters come from. You can kind of relate to that. We're elves in a strange world where magic doesn't exist, but it does exist, and there's an epic quest that involves talking to some weird monster along the way, and there's a curse and
spoilers.
That's all in the
in the trailer.
I haven't seen the trailer, so spoilers.
Yeah.
Well,
no kidding.
One thing, I mean, you know, so movies like this, you know, going straight to, you know, being released on services like Disney Plus or Netflix or something like that, and then also too, what's happened is along the same line. The rental releases of movies, you know, they moved up the date. They made the window shorter. You know, the latest Star Wars movie was released early, you know, because of this and all. So I guess, you know, just question, you know, to you guys, do you think this is going to be a permanent shortening of that window?
No. Not in general. I mean, the fact that they're holding back the Bond movie and the Black Widow, that they obviously believe that it will hurt the industry to do this permanently and to allow this to happen to more systems. So they're probably going to try to resist letting this happen.
I believe that the fact that movies are failing on this or being directly streamed thing, and by failing I mean not making nearly as much money, will save not all the theater industry, but at least some of the theater industry. They'll make the argument people want to go out to the movies and see the movies in the theater, and they're not wrong. There are people who want to do that. So
at least the bigger chains that are able to weather the storm.
So those are going to survive. But at the same time, I also believe that the crazy 90 or 120 day, whatever that window, might be shortened to something more reasonable, like 45 days, and 60 days, something like that. I think that might be pulled up a little bit in like, we won't be making you wait nearly as long. I mean, half a year feels like sometimes.
And would it hurt the industry if, let's say, you give both once we're past all this, you give both options, right? You want to rent it and watch it at home. Okay, you pay this higher premium price,
right?
Or you can go to the movie theater and see it for a lesser.
I believe that it will all depend when we get through this, and then they start counting the numbers and they actually figure out was it worth it to them to release it directly or not,
right?
And then if it did work out for the studios, then I think there will be more pressure on the theaters to accept new terms. If it isn't, then the studios will say, okay, fine, we're back to status quo. Let's go back to the way it was. So
I suspect you're going to have some movies out there that are like, we don't know if it's going to do well in the theaters. Let's give somebody the option to buy it. But they'll be very picky and choosy for those. Like, hey, this big documentary's coming out. Sure, we know the documentary's not going to probably make a lot of money in the theaters, so we'll also do the day and date. They'll be picky about that stuff. But I think that will be.
So I'll give my opinion. What I think is going to be kind of a hybrid of that, right? So if it's $100 million movie, yeah, it'll probably go the regular amount of time before you see it released on rental, right? If it's a $20 million movie, I think that window will be shortened, and that's where you'll see the 40.
That already happens.
But you got to remember, you got to remember that it's the theaters that have been railing against that, because they're like, well, if you're going to do that, we won't show it in our theater.
Yeah,
and that's the leverage that the theaters has had up to this point. And that's what I was saying. If the studios do well with the direct day and date or whatever they end up doing going through this, then they will. I think that's the only way they'll have the leverage to be able to say no.
Yeah,
we're changing this.
I think the thing is, though, the price difference has to be very significant. I mean, this conversation happened a lot on Cord Killers, where Brian will mention things like a $60 day and date release price, and that's really where it has to be if it's going to be able to sit side by side with theaters, where people still are compelled to go to theaters. Because thing is, there's no way for them to tell how many people are viewing it on a day and date release in your home streaming. And if I go to a theater, it's $12 per person in my family. So my 4 people, we're talking $48, right? After taxes, it's over $50. And that's if we don't get any concessions. So for me to be able to watch it at home, it's certainly worth at least that ticket price to be able to watch it. If I consider at home an equal entertainment experience. But the movies, in order to be able to claim such box office success, they have to be able to get that $50 for my family of 4, not a $20 movie or a $30 movie. I mean, even a $20 rental for like 48 hours isn't going to put a dent in that ticket price that they're used to getting of $50, $60, $70 for a family, because they're not getting paid for the whole family that way.
So let me round this out by saying, no matter how it shakes out, at the end of this, I'm pretty sure the theaters are going to have to make some concessions.
Oh.
Yep.
What's next when Matt comes
Oh,
back?
so if you if you are stuck at home with kids, hey, if you don't have Amazon an Amazon Prime account with video content, no worries. Amazon's got your back. They're offering many of their kid-friendly Prime Video content for free. All you have to go is have an Amazon account and go to visit their website and go to their Prime Video section for kids. And a lot of their different shows are available for you to watch right now with no cost for you.
Cool.
Yeah, who doesn't have an Amazon account?
Yeah, even I do.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that they do this. I mean, I don't think a lot of people end up taking advantage of it because so many people have Prime now. But I do think that it's really good to see companies doing this, even though we know that there is potential benefit to them and they see that potential benefit from a financial perspective. It's always good to see them offering something a little bit discounted or free when times are tough and things. And I certainly feel like this is a huge challenging time because, I mean, summertime, a lot of families take advantage of daycares and camps and things like that to keep their kids entertained and busy. And they don't have that option right now, right? So like the kids are home, they can't really go places. So you don't have the entertainment options of taking your kids to the arcade and to the movies and doing things to break things up. They're just stuck at home, more or less in your house or around your house all of the time, and no relief from that. So anything to ease that burden is a huge thing right now. And so props on them for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, agreed.
Hey guys, do you guys like NASCAR racing? No? Okay. Would you like to watch a virtual NASCAR race?
Maybe.
Well, guess what? Apparently there was a lot of people who did want to watch a virtual NASCAR race. Fox Sports had instead of having a regular NASCAR, had an eNASCAR iRacing Pro individual invitational series race on March 22nd, and it drew 903,000 viewers to this virtual race with real drivers. So this was actually them putting the drivers into the seats of some virtual cockpits of some kind and having them do literally a video game race simulator of a race, which I wish somebody watching this show would have got into the settings and changed the gravity settings to 0.01 and just let things feel a little bit more fun. Watch some things fly off the screen.
This actually makes sense because if you watch any of the stuff that's behind the scenes for racing, like especially like I watched that show for Formula One, you know that each of the racing teams, they have realistic simulators with the actual tracks that they're going to be racing, so they can get in their practice and and that's what they use to fine tune the car and stuff to what the driver. So I mean, they already have this technology. Makes perfect sense that they use it. I would say virtual NASCAR is just as, I guess, the same as bland, every car is literally the same car, boring NASCAR. So
they still drive in circles.
Yeah.
It's still everybody turns left, right?
See, I'm still the one that rails that you can't call it NASCAR because NASCAR was they were stock cars, meaning they were off the lot stock cars. But when they went away from that, these are anything but stock cars, and every single one has to be exactly the same, so that nobody can have an advantage and no longer push forward the technology for the street.
So I agree with you. I think they
may as well just go virtual.
I agree with you. I think the virtual thing is cool. I mean, you could do some pretty cool things in virtual. I'm sure you can't do normally, like get right in there with the, the view and easier and things like that. But I think you're right. They need to have a return to its roots kind of racing situation where it's literally stock cars. You can't modify them, have people race with them. And then you can have Ford say, yeah, we have the best stock car down there. And then the next year, somebody else, Chevy, can come out with their best stock car. And everybody in Toyota will come up and Nissan or whatever. This should be interesting.
I do think that sounds interesting. I personally would be far more interested in watching virtual Need for Speed racing or something like that. Like those games are so much more interesting than the FS1. Driving in a circle around a track is just.
We're not the audience. We're not the.
Sorry, every NASCAR fan out there.
Now we're not saying that driving in a circle around the track is easy, because those banks, require some massive skill when you're coming into a corner at 200 miles an hour. But still, like Daytona, every corner is different. Still,
agreed. I mean, hard to do, boring to watch.
So I'm just waiting. If they're going to do it, I'm going to.
It's like golf. Hitting that ball into that hole is really hard to do. It is really boring to watch golf, in my personal opinion.
How long? So if they're going to be doing these virtual races, how long until we have the first scandal about cheat codes?
As soon as one of them is named Captain Kirk, he will, and it's the Kobayashi Maru, he'll do it. Bad Star Trek joke inserted here. All right. Hey, guys, speaking of Star Trek, if you really wanted to see Picard because you've been waiting for a long time to watch it when the season is over, guess what? Season's over as of tomorrow, and Patrick Stewart has announced that he's going to go ahead and say, well, it's not him, but they're providing all of CBS All Access as a free gift for you to watch for, I believe, until 4/23. So that's until middle of April. So plenty of time, a month, for you to watch all 8 episodes of Picard if you haven't watched it yet.
This is, same as my last comment about offering anything free to help ease the pain and burden. I really have been wanting to watch Picard. I've been resisting going back to CBS All Access. I tried a long time ago, but I haven't seen any of the Star Trek stuff, the Discovery or this. I'm on board. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, free stuff's always good.
Yep, I agree. Enjoy it, everybody. So TV streaming service Fubo TV is merging with a virtual entertainment technology called FaceBank. FaceBank is most well known for basically looks like a hyper-realistic virtualized hologram version of Michael Jackson at the Billboard Music Awards. Anyways, I don't remember that. I don't watch that show. So.
They also did Tupac.
So this is a special effects company is streaming up with Fubo TV. Does this make sense to anybody?
I'm hoping it's because they're going to start streaming Holo TV. So have you ever wanted a hologram of Michael Jackson in your living room?
No.
Well, if you were, maybe this might be. I don't know. I honestly don't know why they're merging it. This is the first one that isn't being snatched up by a large
that's true
conglomerate like AT&T or NBC or Viacom, so I don't know, unless it's just that FaceBank's got a lot of money and Fubo has the street cred.
Fubo was one of the free services, right?
No, Fubo was the one that gave you sports.
Sports. That was their
But
focus.
we talked last week. There are no sports, so they had to quick pivot to do a lot of news.
Right.
But yeah, I think they're gonna get hit hard because, like I said, Fubo was the one you choose. If all you care about is sports, you can get sports. May not get all the channels, but if it's sports, they got it. So yeah, they're merging.
I'm kind of excited about this. To me, this seems to be the first step toward the holodeck.
We'll
Well,
see.
One thing it does mention in the article that the merger will allow Fubo TV to continue its international expansion because FaceBank is based out of England, I think. There's someplace else in the world, but so then this will just put them right into that country, and yeah, so.
Okay, Uverse people out there, we've got, looks like it's sad news here. It appears, according to the reports, that AT&T's Uverse program is going to be sunsetted into the disregarded parts of various purchase programs from AT&T, like DirecTV's cable service. So say goodbye to Uverse soon.
It's going to join DirecTV in cable TV heaven.
Yeah, which is funny because DirecTV was satellite, right?
Yeah. Was
So it's
already in
in
cable
heaven?
TV. Well, no, see, but that's the thing. DirecTV was satellite, yet, and they were already in the heavens,
Right.
but now they're in cable TV heaven. So that'd be like if you were a Protestant and then you end up in Valhalla.
No idea. All I know is that but cable TV heaven sounds like a good thing.
Yes.
But it's bad in this case.
But yeah, so
I think I happen to know one person who was ever on Uverse, and they said and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but it
Mike,
was
you
like
were
a
on
regular...
Uverse, right?
I was,
Okay.
yeah.
And Jimmy was.
Oh, okay.
No, I have not been.
Oh, I thought you were previously before switching to. Oh, okay. Never
No,
mind.
I was Comcast,
That's
and then
right.
I
That's
switched.
right. Never mind.
I switched to AT&T fiber service,
Yes,
but
that's
not
what it was.
Uverse.
Okay. So, yeah, Uverse cable going away, but they are offering a thing because they're phasing this out in an attempt to get people to go to the AT&T TV over the internet, which is kind of timely because AT&T TV now is gonna give free premium channels through April if you
Right.
sign up.
So if you sign up, you're going to be offered a free time with Stars, Epix, HBO, and Cinemax to all subscribers. Looks like even if you've already been subscribed for free, various times for the different channels. So they've kind of spread this out about which channel you have access to. But yeah, if you're an AT&T TV Now subscriber, you're going to be able to get these channels for $0 right now. So you can catch up on all your favorite shows on all those.
I do like how they chose their wording. You get it through April. That sounds awesome, but you got to remember we're only a couple days away from April, so you're basically getting a month.
Yep.
But it sounds like all the way, April, way out there. Yeah, all the way through April. But
so Stars will be available from March 26th, that would be tomorrow, to April 4th. Epix will be from April 4th to April 16th. HBO and Cinemax will be from April 17th to April 20th. And so they are literally spreading these things out. None of them are overlapping. You just get to have your premium service available to you for a little bit of time, and then they turn one off to turn on the next one. So. And with that, guys, that is the news for the week.
Word. And that brings us to the point in the show where we take some time to thank the amazing people out there that support us week to week. There's people out there that even though they're cooped up in their houses and they can't go to work, and they still support us, and that hits me right in that small soft spot in the thing that they think should be my heart. But you guys are awesome. We appreciate it, and we look forward to serving you week after week.
Well, we do basically do this show for you guys to have at least an hours of entertainment once a week, right?
Absolutely.
That's right.
And it's also an excuse where, oh, sorry, I can't hang out with the family. I got time.
Oh, is
Um,
that why you do the show? Okay.
It blocks
Hey.
off my Wednesdays. I hate Wednesdays. I don't want to. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you.
And since you can't buy toilet paper anyway, all we ask is just for a little bit of toilet paper, Bunny.
Yeah, we got to start saving up because when those toilet paper production get shut down and
Goes down
prices
the
go, it goes down the crapper, and the prices go. Pretty soon, we're all going to be installing bidets. So, if you want crappy investment advice, invest in bidet. Find a company that is like the biggest, most popular bidet manufacturer and invest in them, because I think after this, more people are going to be putting them in. All right. With that aside, no, seriously, thank you guys. If you're not a subscriber or, we do accept subs here on Twitch. If you've got the free sub from being an Amazon Prime member, we won't turn up our nose at that. But if you would like to support us, that's patreon.com/The Bot Squad. And with that, we should move on to some rants and some raves. All right, guys. I think I'll probably just throw it right to Mike, because you already said you've got something to rave about, right? Or is it a rant?
Yeah. No. So I've got two things. First, I am like 5 episodes away from the end of How I Met Your Mother. And I love that show. It is absolutely hilarious, really good. It is the final season is bringing it together well, and I'm still enjoying it, and glad that they were at least assuming that the last 7 episodes continue to be good. That they planned well enough to plan an ending a season or so in advance so they could bring it to conclusion, and not keep going when they didn't have any content to do. So many shows end because the show gets bad, and it seems to me like they didn't do that. So,
Mike, I've heard people say, be big fans of How I Met Your Mother. Absolutely loved everything about it, and they thought the last episode ruined it for them. So they told me that if I ever watched that show, which I never have not, that you should watch everything but skip the last episode.
I would disagree.
What I was told.
I
Really?
thought
Okay.
it was okay. I enjoyed it. It gave me closure.
Okay.
There was a thing that they chose, a direction they chose in the last episode that made me go, okay. But I mean, for the most part, I think the last season was great, and
Okay.
I would say watch the last episode.
All right.
yeah. Okay. Good. And then, of course, I watched Bloodshot the other night, and last night, not the other night, but last night, and absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it. It is, it's an action movie starring Vin Diesel. I won't claim that it is a cinematic masterpiece, that it has the best acting ever done, but I will say I enjoyed every minute of the movie, and the special effects and stuff were great. It was really cool, and it was exactly what I would expect out of a Bloodshot movie. And if you've read the comics, you know what to expect. If you haven't read the comics, then watch it. And if you like comic booky movies, you will probably enjoy it. So if you like that kind of action, I would say 2 thumbs up. I mean, it's certainly superhero, but it's got a lot of really great fight gun run scenes and stuff like that. So
let me ask, is the comic bookie the guy you go see to get like underground stuff that's out of print?
Hey, man.
So, well, he's the
Comic
guy
book?
who you bet on when comics are going to be released
Oh,
and
okay.
how good they're going to be and stuff.
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if you like comics, go see it. If you have read the comics and you like them, go see it. If not, still go see it because I want Valiant to make more movies and I want them to make money. So see it. And by go see it, I mean don't go anywhere. Sit down at your TV and buy it on Amazon or another streaming service and watch it from the comfort of your home. And I gotta say, I love going to Alamo Drafthouse, but I really enjoy watching movies at home and getting to watch a brand new movie from the comfort of my chair with a drink by my side and the ability to pause it and go to the bathroom or go get food and stuff. That's great. So
what you need to do is you need to print up a menu so that you can sit down and then have your children take your order.
yeah.
Just got to make sure that you tip them well, and
the
then they'll continue to do it.
And your
you can
options
have
are
that.
toast or chicken nuggets.
True.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
I can go next, but my life has gotten weird this week. School's virtual. I've been dealing with things like people's cell phones and hooking them up so they can call remotely. Actual phones that they take their phones home. Chromebooks. I've been dealing with iPads. I've been dealing with all this stuff this whole time. It's been absolutely bonkers for me. I have not had much time to watch anything at all. But my wife did, she's also at home being a teacher. She has a certain number of things she does during the day. But after a while, she's done. And so I finally sit down when I'm done supporting everybody remotely. And I sit and watch whatever she's watching. And she's been watching sappy old movies like The Parent Trap, if you remember.
The
Not
original one or the
No.
remake?
The remake,
Oh.
yeah, and so she would watch that. But she found a stream of like 90s and 2000s hits on Disney Plus, and she's been watching like Flight of the Navigator. Remember that?
I saw it in theater.
That's like saying that she watched The Love Bug and then be like, oh, but the remakes. Like, oh, come on.
Music and lyrics. Actually, music and lyrics has a surprisingly funny. It's very funny. I actually like that one as a movie. It's a pretty funny movie. I recommend that one.
What makes me really sad about this conversation is you're referring to movies I watched as a teenager as old movies.
No, I still consider them old movies because I nobody knows them anymore.
But-
That's why.
But then again, I had the realization today that right now I am only 4 years younger than Captain Picard was at the beginning of Next Generation.
Yeah, that's funny.
He was
But yeah,
47.
I
And then I
agree
go,
with you,
holy
Clyde.
crap, he was 47? That dude, I thought he was like 70.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, you say old movies and then you talk about the remake of The Parent Trap. It's like, no,
It's like
The Parent Trap
2002.
was an old movie.
Yeah.
The remake is not an old movie. Flight of the Navigator is closer to the originals.
But
The
it did,
original
most of
Parent
it did take, or a lot of it did take place in the 60s, so even
Yeah,
though it was
but
made in the 80s.
What are you saying about Flight of the Navigator?
Oh no, it came out in '84.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the beginning
Right.
of the movie takes place in the 60s, is what I was
In the
saying.
'70s.
Oh, is
actually.
it the 70s? I thought he was
Yeah.
gone for longer than
We
that.
just
Okay.
watched it, and it was gone for like 12, 14 years.
I will say that was the movie that introduced me to Twisted Sister.
Did you feel like Flight of the Navigator aged well? I mean,
So we got started on it. It was kind of the thing where we like turned on, and said my son, "Hey, this is a really old movie. I used to love watching this as a kid. You should watch it with us." And so we started it, and he's confused, and the time travel, and we hadn't gotten to the good part yet. So unfortunately, I want to get it back to it. But we did get to the spaceship floating, and they found it they were floating around. It looks decent. It still looks like a giant prop, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It still looks like an alien craft. So. It's cool.
I mean, I've tried going back and watching some of them, like Cloak and Dagger or
Oh man.
was
The Last Starfighter. Come on.
Never Ending
that movie.
Story or Last Starfighter. And Last Starfighter, I think, is one that holds up particularly poorly, especially in the light of what we've seen since then in that kind of genre. But
yeah, one that comes to mind in that genre would be Galaxy Quest. That holds up pretty well.
yeah,
Galaxy Quest. Great movie. Recommended for anybody for any reason at any time. It's great.
All right, Jimmy,
all right.
you got anything?
Yeah. So I finished season 4 of Better Call Saul. Excellent season. Really enjoyed that one. I guess there's going to be I'm watching it on Netflix, so I'm assuming there's a season 5.
That's airing right now.
That's airing right now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
I mean, if you've still got Hulu live, right?
I do.
So now's perfect time to hop in, pick up on season 5, because
Maybe.
we're about 4-5 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's every Monday.
I
gotta say, it's good. Next season is the final season, season 6.
Okay. All right. So finished that season 4 of Better Call Saul. Also up to date on Picard. Looking forward to the season finale there. And the new show Devs. You know, I think I mentioned that one maybe last week, right? But that one continues to really be captivating there as I watch it each episode. You know, and it's, you know, I mean, it's a newer show. It's got kind of a little bit of a different format than, you know, shows of that genre. I mean, this is kind of like a mystery type, a mystery drama type genre is what this is. And, you know, takes place out in San Francisco. I won't say anything more, but really good show. Really enjoying that one as well.
Yeah, oh, good.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we've talked about it, you and me here a couple times, and I'm still trying to figure out what the show is supposed to be. Because every time you think, oh, okay, I understand what this is, they take that storyline and either just like wrap it up or throw it away. So I'm kind of in that weird limbo of I'm gonna keep coming back, but I don't really understand what the show is supposed to be.
Yeah, and yeah, I do wonder about that too, Clyde. And one thing I'll say now, this is a very entertaining show, and it has, I mean, it's a mystery to the hilt, no doubt. But what does make me wonder is like, okay, I kind of see where things are going, you know, for this first season, but where are they going to go on a season 2?
Is there supposed to even be a season 2?
Well, I mean,
and that's the thing, is because there's been a lot of it's been the trend lately, doing more of the British thing of let's just write a short story, you know, one season that is a standalone thing, and you wanted more, tough.
Right. Yeah.
But
and that's the thing, is like it is entertaining, but I'm having a hard time trying to think of how they would have a season 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the problem is, like I said, the real mystery about the show is what the show is supposed to be. Hopefully by the time we get to the end of this season, we'll have a better idea of, it was, you know, whatever. But I'm still watching. I think new episodes are tonight. So when we're done with this, I'll get to watch that. But
yeah,
cool.
Probably weekend before I get to watch it. But yeah, I'm keeping up with it. You know, that's a great show. And I want to make just a small little rant, right? And it's about what we mentioned many times already tonight: toilet paper. I don't get it why people are buying up so much toilet paper. You know, COVID-19 symptoms are not diarrhea, right? So
actually,
why would you want to by that. I don't know.
Well, one,
but-
Diarrhea
intestinal
is a symptom. Intestinal distress and diarrhea are a symptom of
Early.
severe
Yeah.
of severe cases. Though that said, like not that common of a symptom, and yeah, it's
Well,
ridiculous.
I'll say when my kids aren't here, a roll will last me a month easy. So,
Yeah. I mean, we had no problem buying gas, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
But toilet paper, got no problem buying gas, but we're all stuck at home, so you're not using any, right?
Yeah.
that's why you have no
but-
problem buying gas.
Right. Not using
and-
any. So.
but we can't seem to put toilet paper on the shelves.
I imagine that there's a lot of people. I mean, this is really sad. We're gonna talk about toilet paper and toilet things, but I bet you there's a lot of toilet paper people use at work, and so
Well.
there's an increased amount used at
Yeah.
home.
And then there are people that don't know how to use toilet paper properly, like a lady that used to live with me that would go through a roll a day. I don't understand how,
Yeah.
but it was like,
No,
okay.
I'm gonna side with Matt here. That's a funny thing because I used to work with this guy, and he said, I remember one day he said, "Oh, I got to go to the store to pick up some toilet paper because it was a vacation. It was like an extended weekend," and we were like, "Wait, what?" And it was because he always just went to the bathroom at work. He never he would buy one roll of a 4-pack of toilet paper would last him a year because he just went to the bathroom at work.
But and which is why that handy dandy little song was rhyme was made is I make a nickel, boss makes a dime. That's why I poop on company time.
And the last thing I'll say about toilet paper, with restaurants kind of shut down and only doing takeout, what restaurant is going to be the first one that says, "Hey, order X amount of dollars with us, and you get a free roll of toilet paper"?
Taco Bell.
I haven't experienced it, but
I'd say
they
'cause
should. Yes,
if
I
you're
agree.
not well stocked, Taco Bell becomes a liability.
I don't remember if it was just one that I saw or if it was somebody that I knew that posted they went and got tacos and it included a roll of toilet paper with their tacos order.
So, I will say, I guess this will be more of a rant in the fact that for the last 2 weeks I've been working at home, which means while I'm working on one of my screens, I usually have something playing. I have consumed so much content in the last 2 weeks, yet I can't remember what most of it was. So yes, while there has been a deluge of content, it's been so unimpactful that I don't know. So that's my rant. We need better content that captivates me. No, I mean, it's good because it's not like grabbing my attention. So I'm, stuff's breaking over here, but I'm, but still, yeah, I have consumed a lot of content, but
You know what you need to do is just rewatch all of the episodes of the VOD Squad because then you won't get too distracted.
But that means I would have to watch an episode of the VOD Squad.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Get us some views on YouTube.
Yes. Go to YouTube and search for the VOD Squad. Make sure that you go, and even if you don't watch the episode because you've already watched it, head on over there and give that episode a like. Because otherwise, the work that Wabbit puts in every week is for naught.
Aww.
If
Like and
nobody watches
subscribe.
it, why is he spending so much time making sure that it gets posted?
Hey, my mom watches it almost every week, so thank you, Wabbit. She appreciates it.
No, and Wabbit, I'm not saying there's not good stuff. I've watched good stuff, but I just haven't none of it has been super impactful, was all I was saying. I know I'm up to date on all of the shows, and there were a couple things that made me laugh pretty hard, but
I gotta say, I expressly select that kind of content to have on while I'm working because I want to be able to sort of consume something, but not be distracted by it to the point that I can't function and work. And even then, I still have to pause things sometimes because I'm trying to write a complex email where, you know, I've got to really think about the wording and stuff. But yeah, I think that's the perfect kind of content, though I do understand sometimes you get to the end and you're like, I don't even remember watching that. So.
Oh yeah, and it's not that I don't remember watching it. It's just that most of it hasn't made a big impact. Like I remember the episode. We'll talk about this in post show. We'll go ahead and shut this down. But thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight while everybody's on house arrest. Yeah, that has been a joke, but as of Friday here in Minnesota, that will basically be a reality. But yeah, if you're watching this first time, come back, join us live. We do this Wednesday night every week here on Twitch TV/The VOD Squad. You get to hang out in the chat and participate and throw shade at me for my dad jokes, I guess.
That's
well, I mean, they're dad jokes. They're not bad jokes. See, if you want more of that, come. If you don't want more of that, show up live and tell me to stop. I mean, you got to be here. And then also you get to submit titles, which we will be voting on in the post show. So those of you here, stick around and head on over to tvs.showbot.tv and vote. We will get to those here in a minute. Thanks, guys, for joining me, and thanks everybody else. We will catch you next week.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.